princess, welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here then just welcome. Hi, my name is Brenda. I do mostly paranormal videos here on my channel, so if that is something that you are interested in, please consider subscribing down below and turn on your post notifications so you do not miss when I post another video like this one. Now with all of that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into today's video. Sorry guys, I quickly have to interrupt the spookiness to thank Rose Forever New York for partnering with me once again for today's video. I wanted to share with y'all just how beautiful the last bouquet they sent me still looks. It's been about 2 months so far, but these roses will last up to a year. They are 100% real roses preserved with natural oils. Rose Forever New York has a variety of luxurious rose boxes to choose from to fit your style. These boxes make great gifts or decor for your home. They are currently having a back-to-school sale on their website, and you can also use my code BeyondBelleza25 to get $25 off your order site-wide. Make sure to check them out. I'll link their info in the description box below. Now back to the video. Alrighty guys, so as you can tell by today's title, today I am going to be reading a few stories from Reddit that are based in Mexico. So as you guys know, here on my channel, when I read paranormal stories, I do always say that the best paranormal stories come from Mexico, when people go visit Mexico, when they go stay at their relative's house, or when they go explore at night, go somewhere. There is something that always happens, or there's always some kind of paranormal activity, and I feel like it has to do a lot with our beliefs and just our history in that country, and how we perceive the paranormal and how we are open to the paranormal for the most part in Mexican culture, and of course in various other countries, but today we are mainly focusing on Mexico. So I found these few stories from Reddit, and I hope that you guys do enjoy them. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the first story. This one's a little bit more on the shorter side. I don't know why I stuttered on that. This is a little bit more on the shorter side. Oh my god, I cannot speak today. Okay, this one is titled Small Girl in Mexico, and it is by the user Saga65 on the paranormal subreddit. It says, when I first moved to Mexico, I stayed with a friend who had recently completed renovating a 100-year-old house that has stood beside a Catholic church. Apparently, the house used to be the school portion that the church used. It is an enormous house with 16-foot ceilings on all three floors, and is beautiful and tastefully remodeled. Every night, there were these tremendous bangs on the wall, so loud it could wake up the neighbors. Anyway, one night I got up for a glass of water, and so as I walked past the living room and rounded the corner into the kitchen, I saw a very small girl, maybe 6 or 7 years old, dressed all in white and very typical of the Mayan era. She had her hands and face pressed up to the glass doors and was looking in. These doors separate the house from the pool area, and she was trying to see into what I can only assume was where she played during recess. I had already turned the corner before I realized that what I had just witnessed. I slowly backed up for a second look, but she was gone. To say I had goosebumps doesn't nearly cover it. I almost peed my pants. To this day, I can see her face, her dress, her smile. No longer scared of what goes bump in the night, and now absolutely obsessed with getting more information and experiences. That was a good one. So I feel like the spirit is definitely like curious and just wants to like roam around and kind of like look into things and maybe interact with somebody and so on and so forth. So I feel like I would be at first like kind of like scared, and it would take me back to be seeing just like a random child, and I feel like maybe if it didn't look like a ghost straight up, I would just think it's some kid wandering. But I mean, it's also in the middle of the night, so I don't know what a kid would be doing in the middle of the night, just roaming around an old house, you know. But yeah, I feel like that one was a bit more on like the interesting side, and I understand how this the person who experienced this would all of a sudden be more intrigued instead of scared, especially if it was just a little girl, as I said. But for me, the thought of children's apparition really scares me, and I feel like I wouldn't be as curious as this writer is. But either way, I thought that one was pretty creepy. And let's go ahead and get into the second story, and it is a little bit short as well, and it has to do with a little girl again. This one says, I heard a little girl say hello in Mexico. And this one's by the user Just a Guy Looking for Fun, and it's on the Paranormal subreddit as well. And they say, I visited my family, which have been living in Mexico for 10 years. They're actually living in Tijuana for 2 years in a brick house over the hills. During my 1.5 months in Mexico, this ends up happening on the third week and around 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. I was just walking by to the kitchen and I heard a small voice just saying hello in English out of nowhere. I hear that voice between the living room and the kitchen. It sounded like it came from the outside. My little sister also heard a voice when she was distracted by her phone. We were so confused and stared at each other. When I heard that small white girl's voice saying hello in Mexico, it sounded clear, like it came from a horror video game. During my visit, I had not spoken English the entire time. That is really interesting. I wonder what it could have been, because honestly, if there was anybody like around the area that maybe you could have heard it from, but then at the same time it was in English, and I feel like it's a little bit less likely that you would just hear somebody randomly saying it in the town. But of course there will be people who speak English, and the fact that they had somebody else also hear the same voice around the same time, who knows what it could have been, honestly. Maybe it could have been from like somebody's TV, somebody's sound system, who knows, or just a ghost, just a ghost who speaks English in this house in Tijuana. That was a really interesting one. Okay, let me know what you guys thought about that one. Now, let's see. Alright, so here is the third story. This one is a bit more lengthy than the last two, and this one is titled My Times in Mexico, Crying in the Middle of a Field, by the user 9FingerRedBandit96. Alright, it says, I was born in the USA, but used to visit Mexico very often pre-COVID, probably twice a year as a kid and once a year when I started living on my own. This was my first experience when I went. I was around 9. If you're not aware, some places in Mexico are enchanted or plain out haunted. I was staying with my uncle at the time in the country. Country meaning a lot of houses do not have electricity and the nights can get pitch black. Even though my life was padded in the US, it was still neat to see how my uncle lived. My mom and siblings came, but I chose to stay with my uncles that time because I was close to them. They owned a farm that was in the middle of nowhere. They had electricity but would try not to use it. They had a barn and a huge cornfield. I remember this day like it was yesterday. I helped my uncle to do chores around the farm, feed the animals mainly while he did the heavier work. We went inside before sundown, ate and went to bed. I remember waking up in the middle of the night and checking my wristwatch. It was almost 3 a.m. I don't know what woke me up, but I looked around and saw a shadow figure by the window looking out. Now I'm shitting bricks and I quietly call out to my uncle. We were sleeping in the same room. He quickly shushed. I stopped talking and it went eerily quiet. Not a bug or bird making noise. That's when I heard it. It sounded like a baby crying, but it sounded very far away. It gave me chills. He went to get his brother, my other uncle. He told me to come on and grabbed his shotgun and his dog. Told me to hold a flashlight and to hold his dog's leash, and we went outside to see where the crying was coming from. We waited and we heard the crying coming from the cornfield. I looked at my uncles and they both looked scared. They decided to go investigate and brought me along. I was terrified the farther we went into that cornfield. They originally thought it was a fox or coyote, but They said they know what they sound like, and they said this sounded like a human child. Now we were hearing the crying constantly. Every time we went further in, the crying would sound farther and farther in. This field was huge, so we were maybe a quarter mile in, and my older uncle said he felt something in his gut, that something was wrong, and we needed to get out of here immediately. He said to run with the dog, and the dog will lead you home, but to shine the flashlight behind you so that they could follow. As soon as I took off the run, the crying got super loud and sounded so close. I ran and I reached the farm pretty fast. My uncles did too, and we got inside and boarded up the house. They stayed up until sunrise. I asked them, what was that? My older uncle stammered, and he said he didn't know, but something was trying to lure us in there. I got other stories. I experienced a few other things down here, and my mom and other people have told me other stories. If you want to hear the non-personal stories, let me know. That would be awesome if I could find more stories by this user, because this was pretty freaking terrifying, and I feel like definitely they were being lured out there with like a fake mimicking of a child by something out there, and I don't know what it could be. Honestly, it could be anything, but that is absolutely terrifying. And the fact that your uncles were brave enough to go out there and investigate, because personally I would have stayed inside. I would have already had the house boarded up, and I would be like, nobody make a noise, turn off the lights, we're gonna ignore whatever's out there, because no ma'am, who knows what it could have been, and who knows what it was trying to do, especially the fact that it got louder after you guys started running. Like, to me that sounds like whatever it was, whatever kind of entity, it was probably like angry that you guys kind of caught on to what was going on, and then you like pieced out, and that is absolutely terrifying. Okay, now I think I have one more. Let's go ahead and read one more story for this video. This one is La Mano Peluda, or the green hand. If you guys know this little, I guess you could call it an urban legend or a story or whatever, it's a good one. And this one is by Confident Rutabaga 23. And they say, I really don't share this story for several reasons. One is obviously being seen as unhinged or a liar. The other, probably stronger reason, is I'm afraid that it will come after me. I'm really curious though about other people's encounters. I've seen a couple similar stories here. In Mexican folklore, there is a story of a dismembered hairy hand that will tickle misbehaving children who don't go to sleep when they're told to. Essentially, it's a boogeyman, do what parents say monster. There's probably several variations, but this is what I grew up with. When I was 3, I was sleeping on the bottom bunk bed, and I awoke to something tapping my right hand. There were 2 large drawers where my sister and I kept all of our toys beneath the bed. Whatever was tapping me was coming from the drawer under me. Before I opened my eyes, I just felt this frantic or enthusiastic tapping on my hand. I remember the slapping sound too. My parents would leave the hallway light on to help my sister and I sleep comfortably, so I saw what was waking me up viscerally. I opened my eyes and saw this large hand curved up from beneath my bottom bunk, slapping my hand. Imagine man hands from Seinfeld. It was green like the color of pea soup. It had black hair on the back of its hand that traveled up its fingers. The fingernails were also green, though short. Maybe it got a mani before visiting me. Its skin was really dry. I distinctly remember how coarse the skin felt. When I started moving my hand, it almost looked like it was signing to me. It looked like it was signing Y in ASL. I have no idea what that would even translate to in dismembered hand language, but I remember it moving its fingers and hand like it was trying to tell me something. I squealed, shut my eyes, and shoved my hand under the pillow. I started screaming frantically for my parents and could hear my sister shifting above me. Both my parents ran in, and I'm obviously inconsolable. My dad told me it was just him teasing me, and then my memory of the rest of the night stops there. The next morning at breakfast, I was eating pancakes with my family. I asked why my dad was playing a prank on me and tapping my hand from under the bed. My parents tensely looked at each other and changed the subject. I feel like I will never have an answer to what I experienced. The rest of my arm was covered by my blanket, so my one theory is that it thought I was another severed hand. Is that even possible? For years as a kid, I thought I saw it a couple of times and that it would run around with other hands. Pure black, pure white, those might have been nightmares. I started dreaming then about being tickled and suffocated by severed hands and feet. It sounds almost comical, but fuck, it was terrifying. What's wild to me is that my cousin, who was the same age as me, also experienced a severed green hand chasing her up the basement steps until she shut the door on it. I also have a friend who, without knowing anything about my experience, told me his cousin saw a green, dismembered hand try and coax her into her bedroom closet late at night. She was about 3 or 4 at the time. Was there something in the air in the 90s? Oh my goodness. Wow, that story was a lot because I feel like it could have been a number of things, right? Especially being that young and having that story linger in the back of your mind all the time. I feel like when I was younger, I would really take those stories that my parents would tell me to heart, and I would constantly think about it, and I would always be like, okay, I gotta do this because then this will happen. And then your mind like can play tricks on you, and it can really boost that imagination and make you think all kinds of crazy things. And not to say that this isn't like an actual experience that happened, or that I don't think that this person thinks that this actually happened, but maybe there is some kind of explanation for it. And you know, as outlandish as it sounds and as crazy and made up as it sounds, when you're little, maybe you can see things that other people can't. And the fact that there was other people in his same circle that experienced the same kind of thing, unless they were being told the same story around the same time, that's the only other reason I could explain it, even without this person who wrote this telling other people about their experience. I feel like if they were told this same story, they would probably end up having something like similar happen to them, because I even remember being told that story too, or hearing about it or like seeing it on TV in some kind of episode of some kind of show. But that one was really creepy and really interesting, because Mexican folklores always have like the most random things to teach kids lesson, or to teach people lessons in general, and it's super intriguing and super interesting. So I really enjoyed that story. Let me know what you guys think about this, and if you have ever heard about La Mano Peluda, and if your parents ever told you that when you were younger as well. But yeah guys, that is going to be the last story from me. I really hope that you did enjoy those Reddit stories. Let me know if you guys like these kinds of videos with the me reading from Reddit's subreddits, and what else I should do next, what kind of topic. So yeah, let me know in the comments below. But before I do end today's video, today's comment shout out goes to this person right here. Thank you so much for leaving a nice comment. As always, I really do appreciate it, and it really makes my day. And if you want to be the next comment shout out, all you have to do is leave me a nice comment down below, and that's it. And just before I go guys, just want to remind you that I do have memberships open for my channel. So if you want to hit that join button down below that's next to the subscribe button, you pay $5 a month and you get an extra video a month, as well as priority replies from me, and you get a cute little badge next to your name that indicates that you are a member of my channel. And you get to use custom emojis that I made for my channel that you can use when you leave a comment, or when you participate in the live chats here on my channel. So if you guys are interested, just wanted to let you guys know that I do have memberships on my channel, and that helps me directly like fund anything that I need for my YouTube channel. Now, with all of that said guys, thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of the video and for watching all the way through. Hopefully I will see you in my next one. Don't forget to stay safe and be kind. Bye bye.